Hiya, welcome back. Sorry we didn't do one yesterday, but there's not that many
We ran out of
views anyway.
time.
We ran out of time. We were busy doing stuff, so we're just waiting for White Fang to load up, and then we're going to read part 2, the second part of chapter 2. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. Sit back, relax, wait till that loads up, and I'm going to start off reading, then Ava's going to start off reading. Ava's got hiccups.
You probably can tell.
Want to get the book up? Does it leave off where we?
It should do.
Yeah.
Well, Spanker's trouble.
Well, Spanker's troubled. It's over anyway. I guess he's digested by this time and convorting over the landscape in the bellies of 20 different wolves. Was Henry's epitaph on this, the latest lost dog? Have some coffee, Bill. But Bill shook his head. Go on, Henry pleaded, elevating the pot. Bill shoved his cup aside. I'll be ding-dong-danged if I do. I said I wouldn't if Airy Dog turned up missing, and I won't. It's darn good coffee, Henry said eccentrically. But Bill was stubborn, and he ate a dry breakfast washed down with mumbled curses at the ear of the trick he had played. I'll tie 'em up out of reach of each other tonight, Bill said, as he took the trail. They had travelled little more than 100 yards when Henry, who was in front, bent down and picked up something with which his snowshoe had collided. It was dark and he could not see it, but recognized it by the touch. He flung it back so that it struck the sled and bounced along until it fetched upon Bill's snowshoes. Maybe you'll need that in your business, Henry said, but uttered an exclamation. It was all that was left of Spanker, the stick with which he had been tied. They ate 'em hide all, Bill announced. The sticks are clean as a whistle. They've ate the leather off both ends. They're damn hungry, Henry, and they'll have you and me guessing before this trip's over. Henry laughed defiantly. I ain't been trailed this way by wolves before, but I've gone through a whole lot worse and kept my health. It takes more than a handful of them. Pesky critters to do for yours truly, Bill, my son. I don't know, Bill muttered ominously. Well, you know all right, when we pull into McGurry. I ain't feeling special enthusiastic, Bill persisted.
You're off colour. That's what's the matter with you, Henry Dogmatist. What you need is a quine, and I'm going to doze you up stiff as soon as we make McGurry. Bill grunted his disagreement with the diagnosis and lapsed into silence. The day was like all the days. Light came at 9 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, the southern horizon was warmed by the unseen sun, and then began the cold grey of afternoon that would emerge. 3 hours later, into night, it was just after the sun's futile effort to appear that Bill slipped the rifle from under the sled lashing, and said, "You keep right on, Henry. I'm going to see what I can see. You better stick off the sled." His partner protested. "You've only got the 3 cartridges, and there's no telling what might happen." "Who's croaking now?" Bill demanded triumphantly. Henry made no reply and plodded on alone, though often he cast anxious glances back into the grey salute where his partner had disappeared. An hour later, taking advantage of the cut-offs around which the sled had to go, Bill arrived. "They scattered and raging along wide," he said, "keeping up with us and looking for game at the same time. You see, they're sure of us, only they know they've got to wait to get us. In the meantime, they're willing to pick up anything eatable that comes handy." "You mean they think they're sure of us?" Henry objected pointedly, but Bill ignored him. I seen some of them. They're pretty thin. They ain't had a bite in weeks, I reckon. Outside of Fatty and Frog and Spanner, and there's so many of them that didn't go far. They remarkable thin. Their ribs is as washboards, and their stomachs is right up against their backbones. They're pretty desperate. I can tell you, they're going mad yet, and then watch out."
A few minutes later, Henry, who was now travelling behind the sled, emitted a low, warning whistle. Bill turned and looked, then quietly stopped the dogs. To the rear, from around the last bend and plainly into view, on the very trail they had just converged, trotted a furry, slinky form. Its nose was to the trail, and it trotted with a particular sliding effort gait. When they halted, it halted, throwing up its head and regarding them steadily, with nostrils that switched as it caught and studied the scent of them. "It's the she-wolf," Bill answered. The dogs had lain down in the snow, and he walked past them to join his partner into the sled. Together they watched the strange animal that had pursued them for days, and that had already accomplished the destruction of half their dog team. After a searching scrutiny, the animal trotted forwards a few steps. This is repeated several times till it was short 100 yards away. It paused head up, close by a clump of spruce trees, and with sight scent studied the outfit of the watching men. It looked like them in a strangely wistful way, after the manner of the dog. But in its wistfulness there was none of the dog affection. It was a wistful bred of hunger, as cruel as its own fangs, as merciless as the frost itself. It was large for a wolf, its gaunt frame advertising the lines of an animal that was among the largest of its kind. "Stands pretty close to 2.5 feet at the shoulders," Henry commented, "and I'll bet it ain't far from 5 feet long." "Kind of strange colour for a wolf," was Bill's criticism. I never seen a red wolf before. Looks almost like cinnamon to me. The animal was certainly not cinnamon coloured. Its coat was the true wolf colour. Dominant colour was grey, and yet there was a faint reddish hue, a hue that was baffling, that appeared and disappeared. That was more like an illusion of the vision, now grey, distinctly grey, and again giving hints and glints of vague redness of colour and classifiable in terms of ordinary experience.
Looks for all the world like a big husky sled dog, said Bill. I wouldn't be surprised to see it wag its tail. Hello, you husky, he called. Come here, you whatever your name is. Ain't a bit scared of it? A bit scared of you? Henry laughed. Bill waved his hand at the threateningly and shouted loudly, but the animal betrayed no fear. The only change in it that they couldn't notice was an accession of alertness. It still regarded them with the merciless wistfulness of hunger. They were meat, and it was hungry, and it would like to go in and eat them if it dared. Look here, Henry, Bill said, unconsciously, lowering his voice to a whisper because of what it emitted. We've got 3 cartridges, but it's a dead shot. Couldn't miss it. It's got away with 3 of our dogs, and we ought to put a stop to it. What did I say? Henry nodded his consent. Bill cautiously slipped the gun from under the sled lashing. Oh.
No, I'm just laughing at myself. Go on.
The gun was on the way to his shoulder, but it never got there. For in that instant, the she-wolf leaped sideways from the trail into a clump of spruce trees and disappeared. The 2 men looked at each other. Henry whistled long the comprehendingly. I might have known it, Bill chided himself aloud as he replaced the gun. Of course, a wolf that knows enough to come in with the dogs at feeding time. You know all about shooting irons. I tell you right now, Henry, the critter's the cause of all our trouble. We have 6 dogs at the present time instead of 3. If it wasn't for her, and I tell you right now, Henry, I'm going to get her. She's too smart to be shot in the open, but I'm going to lay for her. I'll bushwhack her as sure as my name is Bill. You needn't stray off too far in doing it, his partner admonished. If that pack ever starts to jump you, them 3 cartridges did better worth no more than 3 whoops in hell. The animals is damning hungry, and once they starting, they're sure to get you, Bill.
They camped early that night. 3 dogs could not drag the sled so fast, nor nor for so long hours as could 6, and they were showing unmistakably signs of playing out. And the men went early to bed. Bill, first seeing it to the dogs, were tired out and gnawing reach of one another, but the wolves were growing bolder, and the men were aroused more than once from their sleep. So near it did the wolves approach that the dogs became frantic with terror, and it was necessary to replenish the fire from time to time in order to keep the adventurous marauders at safe distance. I've heard sailors talk of sharks following a ship, Bill remarked as he crawled back into the blankets after one such replenishing the fire. Well, them wolves is land sharks. They know their business better than we do, and they ain't holding our trail this way for Heath. They're going to get us. They're going to get us, Henry. They've half got you already, a talking like that, Henry reported sharply. A man's half licked when he's says he is, and you're half eaten from the way you're going on about it. They've got away with better men than you and me, Bill answered. Oi, shut up, you croaking. You make me all tired. Henry rolled over angrily on his side, but was surprised that Bill made no similar display of temper. This was not Bill's way, for he was easily angered by the sharp words. Henry thought long over it before he went to sleep, and his eyelids fluttered down and dozed off, and thought his mind was, there's no mistaking it, Bill's almighty blue. I'll have to cheer him up tomorrow. That's the end of chapter 2.
So now we're on chapter 3.
So tomorrow we'll do chapter 3.
Which is called The Hunger Cry.
Called The Hunger Cry. So, have you enjoyed it?
Yes.
Yeah, it went pretty
You
quick.
enjoyed it?
Yeah, I think we're getting quicker at reading. We're getting better at reading. And that's the whole idea of reading, to get better and better and better. You know. If you like what you see, don't forget to click the subscribe button.
Thumbs up button.
Thumbs up button.
And you can also press the bell.
The bell. And this is Ava.
And that is Gong.
See ya. Bye. See you tomorrow.
See ya.